Okay, boys and girls, here we are live at Hansi Zoo with my friend here, Rishi the Tiger. I'm gonna be reading y'all a story called Riding the Tiger, written by E. Bunting and illustrated by David Frampton. Easy, girl. Now, while this might be a picture book, I assure you that the meaning of this story is far deeper than just the pictures that you will see. This book focuses on inferencing. Inferencing is a skill that detectives use to put together clues in order to find out or make an educated guess, like a hypothesis for you scientists out there. I was leaning against the wall of the house when the tiger came. "Hi, Danny," he said. It scared me that he knew my name, but I was pleased too. "A bit bored?" he asked. "A bit lonely?" I nodded. The tiger cocked his head. "That's the way it is when you're new in town. But we'll fix that. Why don't you hop on my back and we'll take a ride?" I stared at him. He purred and rubbed his head against my shoulder. "Just a short ride. My back's wide and comfortable, and you've got nothing else to do, have you?" I want all you guys thinking, what does this tiger symbolize in this story? "Well, I have to tell my mom where I'm going." He grinned. "If you do, she won't let you go." I grinned back at him. "You're right about that. Okay." So he crouched down so I could get on. My feet hung way off the ground, and even though my legs are real long, which is why my mom calls me Danny Longlegs, "Too bad you're not wearing my colors," the tiger said. "Next time." I wonder what that tiger meant by, "Too bad you're not wearing my colors." "Sure," I said, not even knowing what colors he meant. I held on to the thick, coarse fur at the tiger's neck. Each golden hair glistened. His black bands came together perfectly like the stripes on a soccer jersey. He smelled of something dark and exciting. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready." "How old are you, Dan?" 10, I said. "Man, I'd have thought you were older." Up there, high on his back, I did feel big, really big. I wanted to pound my chest and shout, "Look at me, everyone, I'm riding a tiger." An old man was reading his morning paper on the bench in front of Mudo's grocery. When he saw us, he went inside fast. "Stay away from here," he yelled. The tiger turned to look at me. "That's Mudo. Nothing but a wimp." His voice was the strangest mixture of every accent I'd ever heard. A police car came cruising down the street, and it slowed down when the officer saw us. "Hey, kid," one of the officers called. "You're new, aren't you? You don't want to start off by riding that tiger. That's nothing but trouble." "We're just taking a little walk is all," the tiger said, quite politely, "to see if we like each other." The officer looked closely at me. "Once you get up on that tiger's back, it's hard to get off. But if you get off fast enough, it's still possible." I wonder why the police officer was trying to warn the boy about riding that tiger. "He doesn't want to get off," the tiger said. "Right, Danny?" I nodded. "Right." But the officer and Mr. Mudo had made me a bit edgy. Still, I didn't want to get off for a while. I didn't want the tiger to think I was a wimp too. The officer shrugged, and the car just rolled on. The shops on the center street were open for business. People moved off the sidewalk so the tiger and I could pass. "This is neat," I whispered, and the tiger said, "Yeah, I always get respect, and whoever's with me gets respect too." Several kids said hi to the tiger and looked enviously at me. One girl touched his striped side and felt him bristle. "Can I go with you?" the girl asked. Not now, the tiger said. Maybe later. Do you think the way I think?
Yes.
Do you want what I want? The girl nodded her head. Because anyone who isn't for us is against us, the tiger said.
I'm for you,
the girl said, and the tiger lifted a paw and laid it on her shoulder. Come on over. You know where I'm at. The tiger squinted back at me as we walked. Questions have to be asked, he said. Pretty soon, I'll be asking you. This tiger fella, he don't seem to be too good. We were passing a playground and a bunch of guys about my age were shooting baskets. They didn't even look up as we passed. The tiger's lope turned to a swagger, which made it hard to stay on his back. Hey, pal, someone called. You on that tiger? You want to get off that beast and come play some ball? The guy was older than the others. He could have been 18. His bare chest was brown and smooth as a nut. That's Ferdy, the tiger said. He works at giving kids options. The tiger said options as if it was the dumbest word that there ever was. Were options the same as choices? I thought so. He says there's lots of stuff that's more fun than riding the tiger. The tiger shook his head. I leaned low across his neck. To tell you the truth, I do like basketball. Maybe I'll get off here. Thanks for the ride. But maybe I won't let you get off. The tiger said, maybe I want to get to know you better. My stomach gave a disgusting lurch. You didn't tell me I couldn't get off whenever I felt like it, I said. I don't tell everything, he said. See those walls? I looked and saw that almost all the storefronts were covered with black tiger paw prints and words that I couldn't understand. The prints were on a McDonald's billboard covering the slogan. They were written over a corner stop sign. You can see the tiger's left his mark on some things. That means we're in tiger territory, the tiger said. Mine. Be honored you're with me. But I wasn't honored anymore. I had to get off here, where Ferdy was still watching and might help me. I brought my left leg up so I could slip down the tiger's side. Don't even think about it, the tiger said. And when he turned, I saw the yellow glitter of his eyes. I eased my leg back to where it had been before. He was walking faster now and the ground seemed farther away. He had grown bigger. Had I grown smaller? His paws made no sound. We flowed along in absolute silence. Now there was a street jammed with traffic. Sometimes the tiger held up a paw so we could pass. One van driver didn't get out of his way fast enough, and he yelled, "Move it!" The tiger snarled, and I heard the screech of something sharp digging into metal, and saw where he'd raked the red paint off the van with his open claws. Oh man, I thought, that driver's going to tear us apart. But he just rolled up his window and turned his head. His shoulders were hunched up around his ears. Now that's respect, the tiger said. But I knew right then that it was not respect. It was something very different. A Metro line bus was moving slowly in front of us. What if I jumped off from the step? But what if the driver wouldn't open the door? What if he turned his head away, like the guy in the van? I didn't know where we were now, padding through the dark alleys, past run-down warehouses and loading docks. A dog mooched away from us, its tail down. A scattering of big crows called angrily and flopped up onto a broken wall. There was a bum rooting through a garbage can. When he saw us, he began edging backwards, but he edged too far, stepping behind him where there was only empty space. I saw him fall. I heard the thud as he landed, heard the quiet. The tiger turned to grin at me and walked on. Wait! I jerked at his neck fur. That man's hurt. He needs help. I swung both my legs down and hung, still clinging to the tiger's back. Stay where you are, the tiger said. What if I didn't? What would he do to me? I heard his breathing dark and deadly, and I heard a small whimper that could have been a cat, but wasn't. It came from the man who'd fallen, too scared to make a noise, in too much pain to keep quiet. I hung halfway on and halfway off the tiger, and I knew I had an option, which was the same as a choice. and I glanced down. The ground so far below me. Once you get up on the tiger's back, well, it's hard to get off. But if you get off fast. I dropped. The concrete hit me like a pile driver. I fell over, stood again, dazed, every bit of me hurt. The tiger was in the shadow of one of those old buildings, a black giant of a creature. His tail moved gently. I was trembling all over. You've had your chance. You'll never be one of us now, the tiger said. Don't come whining and begging to me when you need help. You're all alone now, kid. I licked my lips. Well, maybe. Then I was limping backward, waiting for the tiger to pounce, ready to run, jump, climb. But this was a tiger. How could I outpace him? I risked turning my back on him, glancing down. The man lay at the bottom of the crumbled steps among empty bottles and candy wrappers. When he saw me, he shielded himself with his arms. It's okay, I said. I'm not with him. And when I looked back, there were only 3 crows strutting again in the alley, and the dog nosing a cardboard box. The tiger had gone. And that is the end of the story, Riding the Tiger. I'm wondering if any of you were able to make an inference about what that tiger symbolized. E. Bunting wrote this story as a symbol of gangs and kids who get sucked into gangs and often are fearful of getting out. I hope you guys learned a lesson today. I hope you enjoyed this story. And I hope you enjoyed my friend here, the tiger. I gotta go feed him now because he's looking awfully hungry. You all have a great day. Read across America. Woo, woo.